Hello, Fairfield. You're watching Fairfield 2.0, and tonight we have the Peter Schlam Trio. They're going to be playing at Cafe P tonight, although by the time you see this, they will have played many, many, many months ago. No, not that many months ago. But we're very happy to have them here as part of the series, I guess, that we have now that we've started of having guests that are at Cafe Paradiso coming by and stopping by Fairfield 2.0. We're very happy to have you here. Thank you very much for coming by.
For having us.
I'm gonna announce everybody's name. Here we got everybody's like. First of all, I'll say my name is Mike Ragogna. That's hard enough. Okay, I thought that was rough. I'm going to go this way in the ascending order here. We have with us, of course, Peter Schlam, head of King of the Trio, vibraphonist, and the musicians in the band who are. Here we go. We're going to go Carl McComas Reichel.
Yes.
Oh,
Nice.
I have no excuse getting anybody's name wrong with my last name, so I forgive me seriously. And also we have Devin Dropka.
Yes.
Ah, right.
Perfect.
All right. So let's end the pronunciation part of our show and get right into jump ball. How did you guys get together?
Well, Carl and I have been living in the Midwest after spending some time in New York City. We both went to the New School together around the same time period, 2006 to 2010. And since then, we both have relocated to the Midwest. I'm from St. Louis, so after school, I moved back there. And Carl got married, and his wife got into school at the University of Iowa. So that's what brought him here, even though he's from Stevens Point, Wisconsin. So
Midwest.
exactly. And Devin is from Milwaukee. The two of us met through a mutual friend, and we first played together maybe in 2009, not too long ago. And we haven't had that many opportunities to play together, but we've been fortunate to be able to kind of coordinate some runs, and we have a lot of friends together, and we kind of hit it off both personally and musically right away, so I feel like I've known him a lot longer than I have.
Nice. Right, because your last drummer moved on to another thing.
Well, he's just living in New York, and he's not here. And actually, Devin is also living in New York, but he's spending some time in Milwaukee this summer. So
Cool. Okay. So you're covering the Midwest together. That's where this is.
absolutely.
How long has your tour been?
Well, this is our second gig of the tour. It's going to be more or less a week. We played last night in Galena, Illinois, and we're going to be driving north tomorrow, playing in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, which is Carl's hometown.
Nice.
And then we're going to play a couple shows in Milwaukee, which is Devin's hometown. So, yeah, we're kind of hitting the home circuit. And then Carl and I are going to go to Des Moines, play at a couple bars there, and Devin's actually going on another tour with another band. So.
Traitor. How could
I
you
know.
say
I dropped the ball.
How did you? Now let's go to the origin story. How did you get into vibraphone?
Well, I started playing piano when I was very young, probably about 4 or 5 years old, and I have an older brother who also played piano, which is why I wanted to start that young. And he started playing jazz sometime around high school. My dad also listened to jazz, so it was kind of around. And so he was playing a bunch of old records, and I heard these Lionel Hampton records. And I kind of knew about percussion instruments. We had a percussion program at the school, so I had messed around a little bit on like a xylophone before. And I knew it was laid out just like a piano, which I already knew how to play. So really, I just wanted to be able to jam with my brother. I didn't want to compete with him and play the same instrument. So I figured I would just play this instrument that was like a piano, except I could hit it. It seemed like fun, and kind of stuck to it. I don't know, it just seemed like a fit, and I haven't really thought that hard about it. Once I started doing it, it just kind of felt right.
And you followed that path as far as your musical instrument of study through since then. Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So at the New School, what's the kind of, you both were at the New School, what is the kind of program that they have there? Like how did
Well, what attracted me
Yeah,
to it
yeah.
was the fact that you could go there and take classes there, but there's a policy of taking lessons with anybody that lived in New York City that you wanted to take lessons with. So it's kind of this open-ended thing. You could find a teacher that you really liked,
Nice.
or try out a bunch of different teachers, whatever you wanted to do. And so that sort of, I don't know, freedom appealed to me,
Nice.
and that's why I ended up there.
Nice. The same for you?
Yeah, well, I had a couple people that I knew from St. Louis, this drummer named Tommy Crane and this other drummer named Danny Scher, who were about 4 or 5 years older than me, and I kind of looked up to them. They both went to New School, and from a young age, they were saying, "Oh, you got to come to New York." And so I checked it out and actually spent a few nights crashing on their floor when I was in high school. And really liked New York, and spent a couple of days playing jam sessions at the school.
Nice.
And so that was kind of always my top choice.
So you knew you were always going to end up in New York?
Well, I didn't know, but by the time I was in high school, I was serious enough about music, and I kind of had these guys pulling me that direction. And I checked out a few other places, but that was the one that always appealed to me the most.
Right. Okay. We're talking with the Peter Schlam Trio, and they're going to be playing Cafe Paradiso in actually less than an hour. And we're not gonna try to keep them too long, because we're also going to have a performance at the end of the. This is a very special kind of approach. We're going to try this, I guess, for the future too, bringing in Cafe P acts and then showing performances at the end. So you are our guinea pigs for this, actually.
Fantastic.
And I love it. It's really, everything about the show has been spontaneous, just like Cable, Wayne's World. But it's been this has been a lot of fun to have the acts come through. If there's a goal, where are you taking this? Like, I imagine you have CDs.
Well, we don't have a CD as a collective unit, but
Okay.
we all have recorded on a variety of projects.
Okay.
And that's kind of how it works nowadays, especially in jazz and improvised music. It's a lot more common for people to be involved in a multitude of projects.
Yeah.
And, any given one of them might go on tour for a little bit and then have a break. The gigs aren't happening constantly. So
Yeah.
we kind of all run in some mutual circles, and then we have some differences, and then, we're all involved in a variety of projects, and we just kind of try and make music together when it works.
All right. Let me ask you, what kind of projects are you guys into other than Peter Schlam Trio or Trio?
I'm in a few different trios out of Brooklyn that are kind of more like the avant-garde free improv scene,
Yeah.
and then I like do some more straight ahead kind of stuff out of there, but covering a broad spectrum.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Brooklyn being a huge musicians hotbed. I mean, I don't know what the it's a scene. It's a scene right now, isn't it? I mean, almost more than any other time. I knew that was the place. There's certain areas, where artists would go, and you'd be able to afford living there and make your art. But it seems like every musician I've ever known now is moving to Brooklyn. It's interesting.
Yeah. Seems like there's probably more people than ever, but I feel like it's always been like that.
It's
There's
always had that
just been
vibe
a
anyway.
bunch
Yeah.
of people there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you you guys are heading back to New York at some point, right?
We thought we were, my wife and I. We were out there last week and tried to find an apartment, but we didn't being back there didn't feel right, so
Go into that
we
a
might
little
stay.
bit.
Well, it just didn't feel like, we had been there for 5 years, and we went back and expected to feel excited about it and just weren't, and wanted to try something else. So now we're looking at a road trip and checking out other Midwestern cities like Milwaukee and St. Louis, Kansas City.
Interesting.
Because living out here is affordable, and you can put together these sort of DIY tours with great friends and great musicians.
Yeah.
And it seems like a much more preferable way to live for me right now.
Is it quality of life?
Yeah.
It's funny. It's almost like when you're younger, you want to go to New York because New York is the exciting place to go. But I guess as you're getting older, and you have a wife, and by the way, I want to let's get the ages here because we just happen to have the ascending order. Another ascending order. We have Peter. Peter's 24. You're 25. You're 26. And I'm 27. So it just
Great.
works out perfectly.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
But I wanted, I want to ask you as far as the future and as far as Peter, you like the Midwest too. You're
I
hanging.
do. Yeah, I love St. Louis, but I've kind of prioritized staying in touch with people from New York. I actually keep a vibraphone at a friend's apartment in New York, and I have probably been up there between 4 and 6 times a year for a week to 2 weeks for the 2 years since I've lived there.
Right.
I'm still involved in a few projects, and there's some people up there that book shows that kind of know that I'm willing to go up there.
To come in. What other projects we heard about? What kind of projects?
Well,
Devin was working.
primarily the band that I'm working with the most from New York is with a Dutch alto saxophone player named Ben Van Gelder, and we made a record last year. We've done 2 European tours, and we've played a bunch of gigs in New York City. So that's kind of the most working band that I'm in. And other than that, I'm just in a few groups based out of St. Louis, and sometimes in New York, I pick something else up. Although now that I haven't been there for as long, getting sort of a random pickup gig is less likely since I'm not there. But I like to go there and just kind of couch surf, play jam sessions, go out and hear music, and kind of recharge, soaking up the energy for about a week or two, and then come back to the Midwest and have space to practice and a nice place to live. Yeah, all the things that are enjoyable.
And I love that you mentioned it's affordable to live in the Midwest, and it is really hard unless you've got something lined up in a profession that pays. It's very hard to set something up in New York. On the other hand, yeah, I grew up in New York, and I remember New York a little differently. That was a New York I was able to afford to live in a few times. But you're right. I mean, now it's sort of like it does seem a little. If you're going to pursue the arts, it seems like you'd better have something to back that up for money, because really everybody's playing in New York, and you do have. I mean, not everybody's making a lot of money. You have everybody. It's just like almost like everywhere else where everybody expects you to play for free. It's like they're honing their craft, whatever. But it's not. It's kind of not fair, and that's a mentality that I wish would change. It's like just because everybody wants to play all the time, and just because places know that, there shouldn't be this sort of. In fact, there shouldn't be that sort of taking advantage of the musicians, and I wish that changed. Maybe that environment will change so that musicians can someday, But then again, the arts have always been. You've always had patrons of the arts. You've always had people who supported artists, paid for their way for a little bit, put them up, done this, done that for them, and I guess that's another route. And then there's Kickstarter, and all those things that'll support you. But I know your time's limited, but let's do this. How many? You're in this for life?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're in this for life.
Definitely.
You're in this for life.
So far, yeah.
What are your goals? What's the goal? What's the thing that you're really aiming at, other than just, well, I want to make music? Is there something that you guys are aiming at too?
Well, I'm just constantly trying to improve being able to communicate myself as a musician, being able to communicate with the people that I'm on the stage with, people that I'm playing for. Yeah. And there's both very abstract and tangible kind of musical goals that I have.
Yeah.
But also in general, as far as something more concrete, I do hope to get to be touring on a more frequent basis, because I love traveling, getting to see different parts of the country, getting to play for different people, meet different people, kind of getting, it's great, like we're getting to play the same music together 6 nights in a row on this tour, and that's becoming increasingly rare. I mean, most venues nowadays will book you for one night, There was a time, maybe 30, 40 years ago, or a little bit more.
Looks at me 20, 30 more years ago.
Sorry. Yeah, but I mean, I had some teachers in New York who used to talk about they would play 4 sets a night, 6 nights a week for 6 weeks, and that was a typical contract. That simply doesn't happen anymore.
Although you have residencies. The residency sort of takes the place of that, and if you're lucky enough, you have a residency that has a couple of names that will foot the bill, and allow whatever's going on to help pay for or support, prop up whatever's going on performance-wise. I hope, I wish you a lot of luck with this. And I know you guys are hungry. We'll get you out of here now. We've been talking with Peter Schlam, the Peter Schlam Trio, and all the best with everything in the future. But there's one question that I love asking. I want to ask you guys too. What advice do you have for new artists?
Devin. He's been quiet over there.
I guess the one thing I could say is just try to always be yourself and find strength in that.
Cool.
Yeah, be like water and fit into the situation that you're in, but remain true to your instincts.
Cool.
I would say be aware of your weaknesses, but not in a way to dwell on them negatively, but just the more aware you are of yourself, the quicker you can improve and the better you're going to be at communicating the message that you have to communicate.
Nice. And you had these great answers under the duress of extreme hunger. This is good. Okay. This has been, and still is, don't go away. We have more to Fairfield 2.0. Right now we're going to be switching it over to Cafe P, where in mere moments, no, mere seconds, well, at least as far as they're concerned, the trio is going to perform. So hang in there. We've got a lot more. We've got some great music, and all the best, Fairfield, and we'll do the formal ending here. Catch us again. We want you on the show at some point, so don't be afraid. Raise your hand. Come on, and let's interview you too. But thanks again for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
Bye.